Hello all. So, if you see this video, it's on a new video program, hopefully. It's got a big learning curve, but I'm getting it. So I thought I would do the next video out of the chute, which is the Yellowstone Volcano update. We haven't done one for a while. There's been two major studies since the last videos, and both of them had to do with imaging sound down into the earth. One way was to use sound down in the earth and to image the upper part of Yellowstone, and the other was to use earthquakes as imaging. It was fascinating reading, very in-depth and technical. Well, let me go over to the board and show you what one of the new discoveries of Yellowstone is. This is a good news, bad news scenario. There's lots of good news, lots of bad news. Okay, let's go over to the board. This is quite a wow. This is in this imaging, scientists from the University of Utah, Fan Cha Lin, I think it's the way you pronounce it, came out and talked about this, and this is what they're finding. They're finding not one, not two, but three giant calderas underneath Yellowstone. So we'll say Yellowstone is here, all right, in this box. This is the land. This is off into Washington and Seattle. So the magma chamber they've known about was this one here. They didn't know it, but there's actually two large magma chambers that are sorted together. Then the latest, using earthquakes, found a gigantic, huge reservoir of hot magma, semi-liquid, several miles. It starts 70 kilometers down and goes almost up to the top, and then it's miles and miles from one side to the other. This is so big, this magma chamber could easily fill Grand Canyon 11 times here in the US. It's huge, it's gigantic. So they've obviously found much more magma than they ever thought was underneath Yellowstone. So the bad news is that if this thing was to explode in a super volcano, the death zone around it from just all the flying hot magma coming out and flowing and that sort of thing would be about 200 to 300 miles, would be instant death, and death within 11-12 hours would be about 1,000 to 1,200 miles away from the epicenter. And it depends on the wind too, and the terrain, of course. So there is a lot of magma down there. The good news is that the top magma chamber is pretty well solidified. It's semi-hard. The one below it is mostly liquid. The deeper you go, it gets more and more liquid, and harder as it gets to the top. They found multiple ways that the lava is making its way up from one chamber to another. There's several different chamber pipes, and many more than they ever thought. The size of this thing completely blew away everybody. They had no idea. Now, let's go over and look at what the second item was that has been discovered about Yellowstone. So the next part gets a little confusing, but another study, let's go over to the board and I'll show you. Is that working? Yeah. Alright, another new study here in the US from Arizona State University has confirmed that the last super eruption that happened at Yellowstone was 70,000 years ago. That's confirming the old data. Alright, so they have a new instrument called that, and it's sort of like it has a very high magnification, and they can look at magma crystals, calculating the period between magma reheating and then eruptions. What they were looking for was a way to figure out how long it took for that super hot magma to reheat and then explode, what the time period was. And what they found out was where some bad news and some good news comes in. The bad news is that it can take as little as 9 months for this thing to heat up and go off as a super volcano. But they also found that it has a 10-year period that it takes to heat up and go off. So anywhere from 9 months to 10 years, this thing can reheat and explode. So 9 months from now, we may end up with a supervolcano in Yellowstone Park. However, so these scientists found by getting samples from the hot springs that they can determine when the 9 months or 10 years begins, and they have not found that that period is coming now or anytime soon. That's the good news. However, they can't go back that far to say how far before it does reheat and explode. Now, there's one other little piece of information. Mushy, pay attention. What is the problem? Put down the phone. So these scientists have found out that that the eruption 70,000 years ago did not devastate the planet. It is not big enough to cause nuclear winter in a catastrophic sense for the entire planet. It will cause catastrophic events in the US, Canada, and parts of Mexico. And depending on which way the wind's blowing, it may get somebody else. But pretty much North America, you have to worry. Everyone else, you're going to get real cold, and it's going to get hard to grow things for a few years. But after that, it's all right. So that's our volcano update. Looks like we have a little more than 9 months before it could go off. Who knows? It's sort of up in the air, isn't it? We'll keep you updated on this. And I'm loving how the new program works, and look forward to all the ups and the downs and the new subscribers and all the comments. And until next time.